Welcome to Ready to Mosh, a podcast all about rock, metal and alternative music. I'm Kev P.
And I'm Jem J. Each episode will bring you the latest news, talk about new releases and review gigs and festivals that we've been to. There'll be a smattering of guest interviews and a lot of random chat.
As well as the podcast, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram. Just search at Ready to Moshcast. Hello and welcome to episode 12 of Ready to Mosh. It's another episode. What did I say?
No, neither do I really. Here we go again.
Yeah, here we go again.
You starting with your news then?
Yeah, I'll start with the news. So as we said last week, 2000 Trees was on. And I've had some interesting news kind of feedback from somebody who went to 2000 Trees.
Okay.
So we were talking about how we'd never done it before because of showers, or well, the lack of showers.
That was one of the reasons, yeah.
Yeah, and it was quite a big reason. Apparently, the showers were there at 2000 Trees in both VIP camping and normal camping.
Yeah.
However, they were £8 a time.
£8 for a shower?
Yes.
Sorry if I've just burst your eardrums.
And it made no difference if you were in VIP or not. The cost was still the same.
£8 for one shower?
Yes, £8 for one shower. And what frustrated a lot of people is that nobody was told about the cost until they got there.
Oh.
So they were told there were going to be showers, but nobody had told about this payment. And it's a really extreme amount to charge people.
I can understand potentially in general camping, but you would expect it to be included as part of your VIP because it would be at other festivals, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
But even so, I mean, that's more than download charge, I think, is it? I don't know how much.
Download's a £5, I think.
Yeah,
if you're
I thought it was a
camping.
£5. For the posh showers, the good showers, the non-communal showers.
Non-communal showers. But yeah, apparently it was £8 a time. Another few things as well. They also ran out of beer on the Saturday.
What?
Yeah.
Ran out of beer?
Ran out of beer. So I think they've got cans available. But kind of like the draft, the normal beers that you'd get on tap, they'd run out.
Was this because people were drinking more than planned because it was so hot, or did they just really underestimate how much people drink at festivals?
No, so I think it's a combination of things. So part of it was the capacity has gone from 10 to 15,000.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they'd not really put enough provisions in place. Because you could take your own beer through, I believe, at 2000 Trees, so you could take your beer into the arena.
Okay, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, and they were encouraging people to drink, from the bar. But apparently, the bars just kind of ran out of draft beers, so you could only kind of get cans, and I think they started to run out as well. So yeah, it was a major balls up there.
I'm surprised they were selling cans as well, because they're funny about cans because they can be used as, missiles, I suppose.
Yeah.
In theory. That's
I'm
sometimes
sure
cited as a reason why you can't take cans into the arena at other events.
Yeah, so I think that was part of it. And one of the other things is that wristbands weren't really being checked. So there were people just wandering in and out of VIP all weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was down to the lack of security staff. They'd asked for a certain quota, and they only got about half of what they needed. So I think I'm going to give 2000 Trees a miss for the time being.
Yeah, those stories aren't selling it to me, I have to say.
No, me either. So yeah, I think that's a no-go for now until they kind of get their logistics sorted and improve the security, sort the shower business out. Yeah, but I've seen some pictures of the food. Yeah. And the food looks really good.
Well, that's good then.
One positive, the food did look good.
The whole kind of setting of it amongst all the trees, and I think there's a small stage that's quite among the trees as well. That all looks really cool.
It is in the middle of nowhere, though. It really is.
Can I just mention my favourite story that I saw coming out of 2000 Trees? My favourite story was Ginger Wildheart.
Oh, yeah.
His set, Ginger Wildheart and the Sinners, his dog, Ginger's dog, Maggie, made an appearance on stage. So that's the favourite story I've got from
it's a border collie, isn't it?
Yeah, she is. Okay, right, my first item, this has been doing the rounds quite a bit this week, is that Alice Cooper's guitarist Nita Strauss has quit the band and also cancelled her upcoming solo tour. She was due to start, so they finished their last European tour date with Alice Cooper in Sweden, I think it was, and then she just quit. Her social media post said there's no drama. in big capital letters said, I'm not pregnant, and that she's going on to her next adventure. So don't know what that would be.
I'll be honest, I didn't realise Alice Cooper was on tour.
Yeah, they did the UK dates in April, arena dates, but we couldn't get to any of them.
Oh.
Because Creeper supported, and it was with the Cult as well.
Oh, yeah, I do remember now, yeah.
Anyway, she'd been with the band for 8 years, so quite a while.
Yeah, that is a long time.
But she's already been replaced by Kane Roberts, who's played with Alice Cooper on and off really since about the late 80s.
Okay, so that's a fine replacement then.
Yeah, definitely.
My other one is Zach De La Rocha injured his leg on stage when Rage were playing in Chicago. So they were playing Bullet in Your Head, I think it was. And whatever happened, his leg just kind of gave out on him. Don't exactly know what the extent of the injury is because it's not been released by Rage yet. He did play the rest of the set, but sat down on kind of on the stacks for the rest of the set. But some of the videos I've seen come out of that as well, with the Rage backgrounds and the stuff that they got going on, it looked incredible. The stage stuff just looked really cool, and it looked an amazing show. So hopefully, maybe next year we can get to see them. They're at Leeds this year, but hopefully they'll play somewhere else next year.
Yeah, there might be more of a full-on tour.
Yeah.
Maybe UK and Europe or some other festivals.
That would be really good.
Another big news story for the last couple of days is that Pantera are reforming. Can't say that, Pantera. Pantera are reforming.
Without Dimebag, obviously.
Or Vinny as well. Just Phil and Rex. There's no definites on who will be in on guitar or drums. I had heard a rumour that Zakk Wylde might be in on guitar.
That's not going to happen.
There's also a rumour who the drum was, but I can't remember now. With some touring happening next year, whether it'll just be US touring or whether they'll make it over here. Don't know.
I genuinely can't see Zakk Wylde doing it. It's especially given kind of like Phil Anselmo's reputation of late.
Yeah. Well, they've been controversial a few years, haven't they, shall we say?
Yeah.
So, have you got any other items?
No, I've got no other
I've just got one fun one and then just one that follows on from something in last week's episode. So this week's fun item. The Heavy Metal Knitting World Championships took place last week. I
did see something about this online and then just skipped straight past it.
I was intrigued, so I delved into it. Didn't even know it was a thing. But it took place in Finland on the 8th of July. There were 8 different artists from 5 different countries. So they're classed as artists.
Okay.
We had 2 UK entrants and there was a UK winner and UK runners-up. So the string thing with a winning...
What's the string
The winning act, that's like... I don't know if you class it as a band, the artist.
The knitter?
Well, it's a knitter and a band. So it's like a full-on...
Right, okay. This sounds even weirder than...
Yeah, it's knitting to rhythm, and the rhythm is a live band. So
Jesus Christ.
There's a whole... I think it was streamed live, actually, and you can now watch it back on YouTube, should you wish. So I've kind of flipped through it a bit.
So they can stream that live, and we have to watch shit highlights from Download Festival of one stage.
Yeah. So... Yeah, we took the gold medal and the silver medal, as it were. The runners-up band, or group, or artist, or knitter, if you will, were called Wool Fumes. As in wool. Wool Fumes.
Okay.
But yeah, give it a watch on YouTube if you're intrigued about it. It's basically, instead of a lead singer, it's like a knitter and the band play in the background.
Surely they should have used the name Wolfenstein.
Maybe. I don't know what the other acts were called, actually. Powerwolf, yeah, that could be another one. But if you are interested in entering next year's, it takes place on the 7th of July. So you can apply now.
Uriah Sheep.
This could go on for a long time.
I'll stop. I could just keep doing this all night.
Yeah, my last thing I was just going to mention, this relates to one of the singles that we reviewed last week, Massive Wagons, Fuck the Haters. They've released a whole batch of new merch that ties in with it. So there are some Unicorn Fuck the Haters t-shirts. There's also a kids version, Forget the Haters. And there's some, I think there's a patch, a badge, and also some foam hands as well.
Yeah, there's foam hands. I did consider getting those.
Yeah, we've got a collection of foam hands growing. And part of the profits from the T-shirts and the foam hands are going to the Sophie Lancaster Foundation as well.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well.
Yeah, so I've got a unicorn T-shirt on order. Can't wait for that to arrive. And yeah, if you are a massive Wagons fan, you probably know already, but they've got a whole array of various different merch items in their online web shop. So yeah, go and give that a look as well. Moving on to reviews, I've got an album this week, and then you've got a couple of singles, and then I think there's a single we've both listened to. So my album this week is Powerwolf's The Monumental Mass. This is a live album which comes from the live stream event that they did at the end of 2021.
Okay.
As you'd expect with a live album, it's very much kind of a best of album, I guess. But there isn't anything from their first two albums, and it does focus a lot on the last two studio albums. And when you look over Powerwolf's discography, I think this is their fourth live album now. So they do love a live album. So you can kind of see why they're focusing on the more recent stuff in this one, because they've obviously got older stuff on the other live albums. But yeah, it comes from the live stream event that they did, which was very theatrical, as they are anyway, as a band. I didn't see the live event, but there is some clips on YouTube of it. It's very much almost like a play-like event, I guess. It's split into 4 different chapters, which are temptation, sin, confession and forgiveness.
Sounds a little bit like the Maiden Legacy of the Beast.
Yeah, I guess it does a bit. Yeah, potentially inspired by that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really a really well produced live album. At times you can't even tell that it's live. I get you can from the vocals sometimes.
But can you not hear the crowd? Or?
But there isn't, no, because it was a live stream. It wasn't.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so it was just kind of a studio without audience event, because obviously lockdowns were still around again at the end of 21, weren't they? So
yeah.
But yeah, you can tell from some of the vocals and some of the guitar work that it is live, and also when the pyros go off, the loud version of a pyro. Obviously, you get a soft pyro that's just a flame, or you get like the firecracker pyro.
Yeah,
Sure,
I think I know what you mean.
Technical words for it, but yeah, it was really popular when it was broadcast live at the end of the year. It actually got extended due to the demand for it.
All right. Okay.
So I don't know how long it was extended for, but it did get extended into the start of January. And as an album, there are loads of different formats for it. So there's various, I think there's like special books, special vinyl, deluxe books and boxes, and obviously a collector's item as well.
I bet they've got a whole range of prices as well.
Yeah, I've not actually looked into how much they are. I even heard a rumour there's a cassette version.
Cassettes?
They are coming back,
aren't they?
Coming back
a little, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so like I say, it's best of, so it's got some of my favourite songs on there anyway. Things like Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. No, Demons Are a Girl's Best Friend.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Diamonds wasn't Powerwolf.
No. It's one of these late recordings again, isn't it? You can tell. Dancing with the Dead, I love that one. That is a rock fit song that we do, so I can whirl around happily to that one. And obviously We Drink Your Blood. But yeah, there's kind of a whole range of the more recent stuff on there, and there's kind of a little interlude between each chapter that's just musical. So yeah, if you're wanting just a general Powerwolf album to listen to, it's a good one to dip into, or a good introduction to their live stuff. The single that they released was Fire and Forgive, and that's got a video from the event to go with it. So you can see from that how theatrical they are.
Yeah.
Things like flames coming out of organ pipes and all that kind of jazz that they do. And I think because they're such a visual band, I think you can say that's one of the reasons I didn't actually watch them at Download, because they're on at like 12 in the afternoon on Sunday.
That's a shit
and it just, it just didn't fit right for me. So I do want to see them live, but in an arena where you get the whole spectacle of the pyros and the stage settings. And I know we said it before, bands you want to watch in the dark.
Yeah.
Or in a enclosed venue. But yeah, as double albums go, it's a double album. It is a double album. That was my next point I was going to make. It's 80 minutes, roughly, I think. So it is kind of a double. You get disc 1 and disc 2 listed on your Spotify. So obviously that would come across in the packaging. But yeah, let's for something just to listen to get a taste of Powerwolf. Give it a go.
Okay. I've been listening to a couple of singles. The first one, which we actually missed the original release date. So this was released a couple of weeks ago. But it's Patient Number 9 by Ozzy, and it features Jeff Beck.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was written about Sharon's time in a mental hospital and Ozzy's time when he was in hospital recently. And it's a little strange. It does sound a little bit auto-tuney. And I don't know if that's kind of like a deliberate thing. Maybe it's Ozzy's voice now and everything else. He's looking full of kind of Botox and everything now. It's really starting to show a lot more. But the song is incredible.
I've heard it once. And I think I thought it was okay. I'd give it another listen. But just going back to what you said about the auto-tuning, it did remind me of kind of about late 90s, the Osmosis period when he started getting that sound across on albums. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, and he's very much like that. And the video has got some classic kind of Aussie animated feel to it as well. So there's a lot of animation running through it. It reminded me a lot of the Hellraiser video that he did with Lemmy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is it. I absolutely love that video.
Yeah, that's cool, that is.
And so it's very much like that. And it's also got kind of like a 90s feel with some of the stuff that's kind of live action. So when Ozzy's kind of like snarling into the camera and turning around, it's just got... You watch it and it does feel a very 90s kind of video.
Okay, I might give it a watch then.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching the video and listening to the song. I really like it.
Okay, I'll give it another listen as well then.
The other one I've been listening to is The Greatest Fear by Parkway Drive.
Not heard that yet.
Have you not?
No.
You need to check it out. It's amazing. I think it's going to be a huge track. I think it really will be. And it'll be one that... It's the kind of track that could kind of like launch them closer towards a main stage slot at Download.
Oh, okay.
So it's a very... I'm trying to think how to best to describe it. It's got there's a lot of venom in the guitar straight away. And it actually opens with kind of like a cathedral sort of organ. So it kind of makes sense when you watch the video and kind of like somebody kind of with all the mysterious kind of, with main mysterious character in, people being led into kind of almost like a cathedral. But it's one of those that's going to be amazing live. I think it could be one of their biggest hits. I've seen a couple of people complaining that why are Parkway Drive doing things that sound just like their last album?
Because that's what
they sound like. Yeah. So it's always the same. Those people are never happy with whatever you do, but again, really like this one, and it's a very cinematic video. It looks like they've spent a lot of money on that. So check the video out and definitely give the song a listen.
We've also got one that we've both listened to again this week, which is the new 5 Finger Death Punch single, Times Like These.
Yeah.
I thought it was all right.
I'm completely with you. I'm sort of middle of the road on this.
It's one of the slower, more melodic 5 Finger songs, because they tend to have either the melodic ones or the really
fast ones,
vicious, punchy, rah-rah ones. You know what I mean? Heavier ones. Yeah, it was okay. I've listened to it a couple of times. It didn't blow me away, but it wasn't hideous. I'm
in exactly the same boat. It's not mind-blowing, but it's a 5 Finger Death Punch song that's just, it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting pick for the first single off the new album. You'd have thought they'd have had something a bit more feisty, catchy, something that would grab you a bit more.
Yeah.
Make you want to listen to more, and it's just...
Yeah, it's not giving me that urgency. Or like the Parkway one has given me the urgency. The Ozzy one has given me the urgency for when the albums are released, I want to listen to them.
Yeah.
This has just kind of, I've gone, it's all right.
Yeah.
But it's nothing spectacular.
No.
And I was hoping for a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's what I was probably as well. You know, given some of the other singles that they've got, I was expecting some kind of fist punchy sing-along kind of. Yeah,
really, really catchy riffs.
But, like I say, it's not hideous, it's not awful, it didn't offend my ears, but maybe the next one will be more of a louder,
I hope it's a louder, faster.
Yeah. Is that it for this section?
I think so.
Okay. So it's time for Rock the Week, where we look back on this week in rock and metal history. This is the 18th to the 24th of July. Got a few general items, 3 of which are on the 18th of July in different years.
Okay.
So my first one is on the 18th of July 1978, Def Leppard made their live debut.
I wish I didn't.
Well, anyway, that's your opinion. Any ideas where they may have played for their live debut?
Somewhere in Sheffield?
It was somewhere in Sheffield.
I don't know, was the lead mill around then?
Probably. I don't know, it was around in the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah. Is it somewhere I should know?
No, you'll not guess.
Okay. Why are you asking me that?
You know, entertainment value. They played at Westfield School in Sheffield to 150 students.
Fair enough. Okay.
So there you go. The next one is the 18th of July 1993. Rage Against the Machine protested against musical censorship on their Lollapalooza set in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Do you remember that one?
I don't.
No, what they...
Oh, hang on. Is this the one where they got naked?
They did, yes.
Yeah, I do remember this.
Almost naked. They were naked.
Yeah, it sucks.
No, that was Chili Peppers.
Was that Chili Peppers?
Yeah, I think they just did that for fun. No, Rage did it naked except for duct tape across their mouths.
Yeah.
And PMRC on their chests.
Yeah.
Which was Parents Music Resource Centre. They refused to play a note of music and just stood silently for 25 minutes on stage.
I love Rage Against the Machine.
Yes.
Yeah, they used to get in a lot of trouble for things like that.
Next one, 18th of July 2001. This saw another addition of many items, there are already, to the Kiss merchandise collection.
Have I got to take a guess what it is?
You can if you want.
Coffins.
Yes. No ordinary coffin though. This is a Kiss casket.
Yeah.
Casket with a K. So these were a limited edition available between 2001 and 2008, costing around $3,300. And Dimebag Darrell was buried in one after he was shot in 2004, which was actually donated by Gene Simmons.
But Gene Simmons gave something away.
Gene Simmons gave something away, yes. Apparently they've got the 4 faces of the band on, the Kiss logo and Kiss Forever.
Yeah.
And then they did another limited run of them in about 2011, and the price had gone up to $4,000.
I do remember these being released, and they did look really cool as well.
They did actually, yeah.
I think I bought one just to keep in the house.
Yeah, that would be quite cool actually in the corner, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they did all kinds of stuff. They had their own pinball machine, and like any piece of tat they could get their hands on, they turned into merch.
Yes, they did. My next one is actually a follow-up from last week. If you remember me saying on I think it was the 10th of July 1990 when Stephen Adler got fired from Guns N' Roses. 1 year and 1 week-ish later, he filed a lawsuit against Guns N' Roses saying that he was fraudulently removed from the band and it was them that turned him to hard drugs or introduced him to hard drugs.
Yeah, I'm assuming that didn't go well.
Well, we'll tune in next week. We might have another update.
Fair enough.
And then my last one, couldn't not mention this one really, a sad one. 20th of July 2017 was when Chester Bennington passed away.
Okay.
That's 5 years ago already. Yeah, it doesn't seem that long, does it? And as many people also know, it was also, or will also be Chris Cornell's birthday on the same day. Yeah. So he would have been 58 this year.
Oh.
There we go. So that's my generic look back into the past for this week.
All right, then. Here's some singles in history. So, 2000, Take a Look Around by Limp Bizkit was at number 1. Spent 10 weeks, number 1, that single did.
Wow.
And one of the things that surprised me, it was the first single released from Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavoured Water.
Okay.
I thought it was much later than that.
Yeah, I think I would have done as well, actually.
Yeah, I thought something like Rollin' or what was the other one, the big ones? Can't remember off the top of my head now.
No, I can't.
But I was surprised that was the first single. It also obviously appeared in Mission Impossible 2.
Yes.
I actually quite liked the video, but Fred Durst Fred Durst stated that he hates it.
Okay.
Which is interesting because he directed it.
Well, you can be critical of your own work, I suppose, can't you?
Yeah, I suppose. And the next one is just really odd. So 2019, the number 1 rock and metal singles chart for 47 weeks out of the year was held by Bohemian Rhapsody, Queen.
Oh, was that because the film came out?
I can only assume that's what it was. 2019 sounds about right.
It was, because, I remember we went to see it and it was pre-lockdown, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
So...
But yeah, 47 weeks it spent at number 1.
Wow, that is still a long time, though, even if it was linked to the film. I know the film was in cinemas for a long time, wasn't it?
Yeah. But, it had a break in August, which, weirdly, I don't know why this was classed as the rock and metal singles chart. It was knocked off the top spot by the 1975. So I don't know how that was classed as rock and metal.
They do come under that category, I guess. To some.
And the other one was there was 4 weeks at the end of the year, when it was The Darkness.
Oh, was it the Christmas one?
Yeah, Don't Let the Bells End.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was at number 1 for 4 weeks in this year.
I wonder, just going back to Bohemian Rhapsody, then, if it was there for a long time because the film was in the cinema, and obviously it started getting released kind of on demand.
Yeah, and streamed.
To watch at home, to stream, and then it went on to Netflix, I think. So it kind of consistently was being relaunched potentially to different audiences.
To different platforms and audiences, yeah.
And what else could people do during lockdown? Was it even maybe a TikTok-related thing where people doing videos to it in lockdown?
I have no idea.
Maybe, I don't know.
But yeah, for 47 weeks, that's a hell of a...
That's some good going.
That's a hell of...
That's some royalties going in the bank.
Yeah. Right, so following on from last week, we've got the second part of our kind of roundup of some of the smaller UK festivals. I've got a couple, I know you've got a couple.
Yep.
So do you want me to kick off with my first?
Yep, go on then.
So the first one I've got is Damnation, which is quite a late one in sort of like festival terms. So it's an indoor one. It's at the BEC Arena in Manchester, which I had to look up because it's not one I was familiar with.
I've vaguely heard of it, but I'm not familiar with whereabouts it is in Manchester.
So it's pretty much central Manchester. And yeah, it's called the Bowlers Exhibition Centre. That's where it's being held. So Damnation is 3 stages over one day. And it's featuring 21 bands.
That's not bad for a day.
Yeah, it's pretty good for a day. Tickets are £65, and some of the bands you can watch there it's definitely much of a heavier festival to some of the others. Probably more for maybe a Bloodstock type crowd.
Yeah.
So you've got bands like Decapitated, My Dying Bride, Converge, and I mean, one that I'd be really excited about going to watch is Ministry. So
Yeah.
I've seen Ministry a few times, but...
they're always good, though, aren't
yeah,
they?
Ministry are always amazing. One of the loudest bands I've ever seen live.
Yeah, our ears were ringing
For about 3 days.
after that. So
Yeah.
loud. Is that part of their tour, Ministry? Because they're touring later in the year, aren't they?
They are.
I imagine it's incorporated.
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be incorporated into that. They are doing like a UK and European tour, I believe. So it's probably a part of that. But yeah, so like £65, it's like, that's almost like an old school download day ticket.
It is, and to be honest, I think Ministry would be about 25-30 on their own, wouldn't they?
At least 25. And that would be in like 1,500 capacity venues. So I think for £65 for the day, I think that's not too bad. I think that's a pretty good one. And yeah, on the 5th of November. So that might be one to maybe keep an eye out for.
Yeah, definitely, if we've got nothing else on that weekend. My first one is Burn It Down Festival. This one is in September, on Friday the 2nd and Saturday the 3rd, and this is in Torquay.
Home of Fawlty Towers.
Indeed, you could have maybe a little weekend at the seaside, bit of Fawlty Towers experience in between.
Yeah.
This is also an indoor festival. It markets itself as the Southwest's largest indoor festival.
Okay.
There are 3 venues apparently within 3 minutes walk of each other.
Oh, so it's not all on one site?
No, although when you actually look at, I think it was on the ticket site or something, it kind of only has one location as the Foundry, which I think is probably the main arena, as it were, the main stage, and then a couple of smaller venues.
Yeah, I mean, if it's within 3 minutes, if it's a 3-minute walk to each one, it's not far.
Yeah. So Friday looks more like a half-day setup. There's not as many bands there, but the headliners are Trash Boat.
Love Trash Boat.
We do. And then the only other band I'd actually heard of on the Friday is Static Dress. But there are 12 others playing as well on the Friday, including Yours Truly, Our Hollow, Our Home, Slow Crush, just to name a couple of them. Say none that I've heard of. I've not really had a chance to listen to any either up to now, but could be some up and coming bands there. And then Saturday is headlined by Def Havana.
Okay, you like Def Havana, don't you?
I don't mind them. I've seen them a couple of times at Leeds Festival. Yeah. One of what I'd call a festival band. I wouldn't necessarily go and just watch them, but if they're on at a festival, I can give them a watch. So yeah, they're headlining. Quite a few other kind of up and coming, getting bigger bands there as well on the Saturday, including we've got Cassiette, Vukovi. I never quite know how to pronounce that. Yeah. Vukovi. Tiger Club in Salem. They're kind of the next line down, almost sub-headlining. Or potentially headlining the smaller venues.
Yeah.
And then other ones to note that we've heard of are As December Falls, Modern Era, Harriet, Pupil Slicer, Death Blooms, and Lake Malice are there as well.
Do you know what? That's a really, really good lineup. Are we doing anything that weekend?
I don't think we are at the moment. It's a bit of a traipse to get to talking with it being Friday as well. It's
suppose
having the time off, really, isn't it?
Yeah, we're not going to get there till late.
No, or maybe only doing the Saturday. Yeah, there's about 31 bands in total on the Saturday. A lot of other ones that I've not heard of. One that has stood out to me, people of a certain age will get this, people who are younger than a certain age. Probably this won't mean anything to them. But there's a band called the Biker Grove Fan Club.
Blamed, man, blamed.
So I'm quite intrigued about them. I might have to just give them a listen anyway, even if we don't go. But yeah, there's quite a lot of bands for your money there. Ticket-wise, you can get currently a weekend ticket for £44.
That's bulky.
I think it looks like 3 waves of tickets. So the early birds have gone. There's kind of a second wave out at the moment. And then there's going to be a final one for about £55, including your booking fee. You can also get day tickets, either 20 for Friday or 27 for Saturday.
How are they making any money? That is such a that is a great price.
It's a bargain, isn't it? And then there's also an after party each day, which you can buy separate tickets for, I think, as well. So yeah,
that's incredible.
Obviously, no camping involved because it's all indoors. But I think the website recommends various hotels in Torquay you could stay in as well. So that could be a nice little.
I really want to go to that.
Nice seaside weekender there.
Yeah, that sounds great.
What's your next one?
My next one is a little bit closer to home. So this is Riffolution, and it's at Network in Sheffield, which is kind of city centre based.
Okay.
There's 37 bands. It's 2 days, which is the 17th and 18th of September, which unfortunately we can't make. The tickets are £50 or £35 for day tickets. And headliners, you've got Truck Fighters on Saturday, Godflesh on Sunday, but also appearing a couple of bands that we're fans of, Palm Reader on Sunday and Raging Speedhorn.
Oh, I love Raging Speedhorn.
I do love Raging Speedhorn. I can see why they're not headliners though, because there's always a chance they're not going to do a full set.
Well, after our last experience.
Especially after our last experience, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a relative one-off.
I hope so. I mean, again, this is another one where I'm not familiar with all of the bands, but what I love about these kind of things is it very much like Mangata Festival, it introduces you to new bands and you kind of see who's playing and just want to check out all of the music from everybody and try and whittle down a short list. Yeah,
and obviously with a smaller festival, it's a lot easier to do that when you're not traipsing 10 minutes between stages, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. You're not walking forever just to get to a main stage or a little tent.
Yeah, and you just think, actually, I can't really be bothered. Whereas
if you've got a 2-minute walk or, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that looks really good. So if we weren't away, I would probably say we'd go to that.
Maybe one to look for next year.
Yeah.
My last one is Risefest. This is a one-day one on the 10th of September. It's a Saturday, and it's at the Northumbria Student Union in Newcastle. So again, a city centre one.
Yeah.
There are 2 stages. The main headliner is Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes.
Oh, yes. Yes, please.
So that will be good in itself. Other bands I've noted are Creeper, Boston Manor, Vukovi, Higher Power, Death Blooms, Cassiette, As December Falls, Modern Era, so quite similar crossover with Burn It Down the week before.
It does seem, one thing I've noticed from last week and this week is there's a lot of bands kind of doing the same circuit, festival circuit.
Which I guess makes sense. They're UK festivals, UK bands, it's easy to give them some exposure, but different parts of the country.
Yeah, and maybe introduce a a different fan base in different regions. So
Yeah.
it's that's one I'd quite happily go to.
Yeah, and then there's also 6 other bands, I think, which I hadn't heard of but could look into. Ticket-wise, it's £59 for general admission, including your booking fee.
That is really good.
And then there are also a couple of other options. There's the Rise Pack option, which is £72, and you get a merchandise pack with that.
Oh, do you get... So does that include a T-shirt then?
It's a T-shirt. I think there was a pin badge or a patch. I can't quite remember now, but there's about 3 or 4 different bits of merch included. And then there's also a VIP option.
Mm-hmm.
And with that one, you get a Q-Jump wristband, private main stage balcony to view from. I think there's a separate VIP bar and a separate VIP lanyard to wear.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you get any other merch with it, or if you kind of, sometimes you get a package where it's
like the
previous
patch.
one plus this included. So didn't seem to say you got a T-shirt or anything, but that one's £88 as well. And there's also after party tickets £7 listed, and I don't know if you automatically get into that if you've got your ticket
VIP,
or if.
I imagine the VIP ones have probably got a little bit something like that included. I would have thought.
Yeah.
It's the thing that's usually included with those sorts of tickets.
But yeah, again, that one sounds quite good. And if it wasn't so close to us going on holiday, then might be one to do a little day trip to.
Yeah.
Really, I think, weekend in Newcastle could have been a thing.
Yeah, Newcastle's always good for a night out. I've done Newcastle many times.
Relating to that, actually, apparently there's a Rise Alternative Nightclub in Newcastle. So they're the people who put this festival together. So again, maybe one for next year if we don't get to it this year.
That's definitely one to kind of keep an eye on. I think we need to start getting a calendar for 2023 and just penciling in things, all the small sort of festivals we want to do.
Yeah, and just keep an eye out, because very often when a festival ends and they announce their dates, don't they, for next year, and we can just get the calendar for next year started up.
Yeah, exactly. And then hopefully we can come on here and kind of make some announcements as to which festivals we're doing and what you can look forward to.
Yes. So finally, we've got our Ready to Mosh recommendation.
Yeah.
And this week it is Cemetery Sun.
Who we've seen.
We both saw it download, yeah.
Yeah. And, well, I enjoyed watching them.
Yep, so did I. I wasn't planning on watching them. You had them on your list anyway, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And I just came along and met you because you were there, and I really enjoyed them.
Yeah. So they're a trio from Northern California, and they've just released their first album.
Yeah, last year I think it was released, following quite a lot of singles over the last kind of 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, so they've released a lot of EPs, but and like you were saying, a lot of singles. And yeah, we saw them at Download. I thought it was a decent sized crowd as well.
Yeah,
the tent looked pretty busy for that kind of time of day, and especially considering who else was on.
Yeah, was it around lunchtime on Sunday?
Yeah, it was around 1 o'clock
in the Avalanche.
Yeah, so they've got a couple of singles, I think, so far off the album that have been released. One's called Ascension, and the other one's called I Don't Know You Anymore. And if you're a fan of Linkin Park, then you really need to give these guys a listen, because especially I Don't Know You Anymore, it's very influenced by Linkin Park. That definitely comes through.
Yeah, definitely. Saw a few kind of write-ups about them, and they gave that kind of impression and related them to Linkin Park and that kind of sound. Yeah,
you can see it come through, and they're really, really good live as well. Really got the crowd going.
Yeah, they did. They have actually got some UK dates coming up later in the year in November. So they're playing in Norwich, Manchester, London, Newcastle and Leeds.
Okay, Leeds one might be...
Check out the date, see if it's doable for us.
Yeah, might be worth checking out. Hopefully watch them again.
Yeah, one word of warning, if you are going to see them live, at Download, we're one of those bands that makes you crouch down during a song, the old Slipknot style.
Yeah.
To spit it out, that kind of thing. So yeah, we did kind of all of those that did crouch down, some of us under protest because we're of that age, and jump up. So just be warned, you might need to do that old movie if you do go and check them out, but don't let that put you off.
Yeah. So yeah, recommendation of the week, really, really good.
And they have actually just got a recent single out this year as well, Break Me Down.
Okay, I've not listened to that one yet.
Yeah, I've listened to a bit of it.
Okay.
Oh, well, listen to it a bit, sorry, not a bit of it. So yeah, go and give that a listen as well.
Well, thanks for listening. that's the end of this episode. And you can find us on Twitter and Instagram if you want to search Ready to Moshcast. So give us a like and a follow there. And if you like what you've been listening to, then tell people about the podcast as well.
Make it stop, move.